Remember when gin was just gin? When a bottle meant juniper berries, botanicals, and careful distillation? When craft meant something real, not just a marketing term slapped on industrial alcohol? There was a time when buying gin meant choosing between a handful of established brands, each with genuine heritage and traditional production methods. You knew what you were getting because the process was honest and the ingredients were real. Those days are gone. Walk into any British supermarket or off-license today and you'll see entire walls dedicated to gin. Hundreds of brands promising craft quality and artisan production. Packaging covered in botanical illustrations and heritage claims. Marketing that emphasizes small batch distillation and authentic recipes. They've convinced us that we're living in a golden age of gin, that all these new brands represent genuine quality and innovation, that we can trust these labels because surely companies wouldn't lie about how their gin is made. But here's what they're not telling you. Most gin sold in UK supermarkets isn't distilled at all. It's made using a process called compounding, where neutral grain spirit is mixed with botanical flavouring. No distillation, no careful extraction of flavours, just industrial alcohol with flavouring added. And they can legally call it gin because British regulations allow it. You're not drinking craft gin. You're drinking flavoured vodka that's been marketed as something premium. The British gin industry has spent the last decade exploiting the craft spirits boom. They've created hundreds of brands with artisan-sounding names and heritage-inspired packaging. They've hired marketing agencies to craft stories about traditional methods and botanical expertise, and they've built empires on selling industrial alcohol at craft prices to consumers who have no idea they're being deceived. For generations, we trusted that gin meant quality. We believed that botanical on the label meant real botanicals carefully distilled. We assumed that craft and small batch were regulated terms that actually meant something. But that trust has been systematically betrayed. These companies know their gin isn't craft. They know it's compounded, not distilled. They know the botanicals are artificial flavouring, not real ingredients. And they keep selling it anyway because we keep buying it. Today, we're exposing 9 UK gin brands that are lying to you with every bottle. Brands that hide behind craft marketing while selling industrial alcohol. And because number 4 is so shocking it's hard to believe, you'll want to watch all the way through. Will your home bar staple make the list? Or have you been paying premium prices for flavoured vodka while thinking you're drinking real gin? Let's find out. Coming in at number 9, we have Gordon's, the iconic green bottle that's been in British pubs since 1769. Gordon's is the UK's best-selling gin, positioned as reliable and traditional. The label emphasizes heritage and shows the distinctive boar's head logo. Surely a brand with that much history maintains quality standards. They don't. Gordon's is made using continuous column distillation, which is the fastest, cheapest method possible. The botanicals are added as concentrated extracts rather than being individually distilled. And the base spirit is industrial neutral grain spirit produced in massive facilities. There's nothing craft or artisan about Gordon's production. It's industrial gin made as cheaply as possible and sold on the strength of brand recognition built over centuries. But here's what really concerns me about Gordon's. The botanical content has been reduced over the years. The recipe has been reformulated multiple times to cut costs. What you're drinking today isn't the same Gordon's that built the brand's reputation. It's a cheaper, weaker version trading on historical goodwill. One spirits expert described modern Gordon's as barely recognizable compared to the original recipe. You're paying for a name, not for quality. At number 8, we have Greenall's, another heritage brand, this one dating back to 1761. Greenall's positions itself as authentic British gin with traditional production methods. The packaging emphasizes their Warrington distillery and long history. But Greenall's is one of the largest contract gin producers in Britain. They make gin for dozens of other brands using industrial processes. The greenols you buy in supermarkets is made using the same mass production methods they use for contract manufacturing. Large-scale column stills, botanical extracts rather than whole botanicals, minimal aging or resting time. The gin is produced, bottled, and shipped as quickly as possible to maximize efficiency and profit. There's nothing traditional about the production, despite what the marketing suggests. What makes greenols number 8 is the contract manufacturing issue. When you buy greenols, you're getting gin made in the same facility, using the same methods, as dozens of supermarket own-brand gins. The only difference is the label and the price. You're paying extra for a brand name when the liquid inside is essentially identical to products costing half as much. Number 7 is Bombay Sapphire, the blue bottle that became synonymous with premium gin in the 1990s. Bombay Sapphire is marketed as sophisticated and refined. The packaging emphasizes the 10 botanicals and shows the distinctive sapphire-colored bottle. The price point suggests you're getting something special. But Bombay Sapphire is owned by Bacardi, one of the world's largest spirits conglomerates, and it's made using industrial processes. The botanicals are vapor-infused rather than directly distilled, which is a faster, cheaper method. The base spirit is industrial neutral grain spirit. And the production scale is massive, with millions of bottles produced annually. There's nothing small batch or craft about Bombay Sapphire. It's industrial gin with premium marketing. But what makes Bombay Sapphire number 7 is the artificial coloring. That distinctive blue bottle isn't just packaging. It's necessary because the gin itself has been colored. While they claim the color comes from the botanicals, independent analysis suggests artificial coloring is used to maintain consistency. You're drinking gin that's been artificially colored to look more premium than it actually is. At number 6 we have Beefeater, the London Dry Gin with the Yeoman Warder on the label. Beefeater emphasizes its London heritage and traditional production. The marketing talks about being made in the heart of London using a recipe from 1820. But Beefeater is owned by Pernod Ricard, another massive spirits conglomerate, and production has been industrialized. The Kennington distillery, where Beefeater is made, produces millions of liters annually. The process is highly automated, the botanicals are added as concentrated extracts to speed production, and the base spirit comes from industrial suppliers. The London heritage is real, but the production methods are thoroughly modern and industrial. What makes Beefeater number 6 is the misleading London Dry designation. London Dry sounds like a protected term suggesting traditional methods and London production. But it's just a style designation. Any gin made anywhere can be called London Dry as long as it meets basic criteria. Beefeater uses this designation to suggest authenticity while using industrial production methods that have nothing to do with traditional London gin making. At number 5, we have Tanqueray, the green bottle with the distinctive red seal. Tanqueray is positioned as premium London dry gin with a recipe dating back to 1830. The marketing emphasizes 4 botanicals and traditional distillation. The price point is higher than Gordon's or Beefeater, suggesting superior quality. But Tanqueray is owned by Diageo, the world's largest spirits company, and it's made using the same industrial processes as their other brands. The production facility in Scotland produces gin on a massive scale. The botanicals are added as concentrated extracts. The base spirit is industrial neutral grain spirit, and the entire process is optimized for speed and efficiency, not quality. You're paying premium prices for industrial gin with premium marketing. What makes Tanqueray number 5 is the 4 botanicals claim. They market this as a sign of purity and focus, suggesting that fewer botanicals means higher quality. But the reality is that using only 4 botanicals is cheaper. Fewer ingredients mean lower costs. They've turned a cost-cutting measure into a marketing advantage, convincing consumers that less is more when it's really just less expensive to produce. If you're still watching and finding this valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you'd leave the number 5 in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed to UK Food Exposed yet, please consider subscribing and ringing that bell. Your support allows us to keep exposing the truth about what we're really buying. Now, let's continue to number 4, which is genuinely hard to believe. And here we are at number 4, the one that's hard to believe. It's Hendrick's, the gin that revolutionized the industry with its distinctive bottle and cucumber garnish. Hendrick's is positioned as genuinely craft gin, made in small batches in Scotland. The marketing emphasizes their unusual botanicals, including rose and cucumber. The price is significantly higher than mainstream brands, suggesting genuine craft quality. And for years, people believed Hendrick's represented what craft gin should be. But here's what's hard to believe. Hendrick's is owned by William Grant & Sons, a major spirits company. And while they do use some traditional methods, the scale of production is far larger than the small batch marketing suggests. The distinctive bottle and cucumber garnish are marketing innovations, not indicators of production quality. And independent analysis has found that the rose and cucumber flavors come primarily from added essences, not from distilling actual rose petals and cucumber. What makes this hard to believe is how successfully Hendrick's has maintained its craft image while operating at industrial scale. They've convinced an entire generation of gin drinkers that they're supporting craft distilling when they're actually buying from a major corporation using semi-industrial methods. The marketing is so effective that even people who know better still perceive Hendrick's as craft. That's not just good marketing, that's deception at the highest level. At number 3, we have Whitley Neal, the brand that exploded in popularity over the past decade with dozens of flavored varieties. Whitley Neal is marketed as craft gin with exotic botanicals from around the world. The packaging emphasizes the founder's family connection to Africa and shows botanical illustrations. The range includes flavors like rhubarb and ginger, blood orange, and raspberry. It looks and feels like a craft brand. But Whitley Neal is owned by Halewood Artisanal Spirits, a major drinks company that produces millions of bottles annually. The gin is made using industrial processes in large facilities. The exotic botanicals are primarily artificial flavorings and essences, not actual distilled ingredients. And the explosion of flavored varieties is a marketing strategy to occupy shelf space, not a reflection of craft innovation. What makes Whitley Neal number 3 is the flavored gin deception. Each new flavor is marketed as a carefully crafted recipe using real ingredients. But the flavors come primarily from artificial essences added to a base gin. You're not getting rhubarb-infused gin, you're getting gin with rhubarb flavoring added. The distinction matters because you're paying craft prices for artificially flavored industrial gin. Number 2 is Edinburgh Gin, the brand that trades heavily on Scottish heritage and Edinburgh's gin-making history. Edinburgh Gin is positioned as authentic Scottish craft gin made in the heart of Edinburgh. The visitor centre and distillery tours reinforce the craft image. The packaging emphasizes local botanicals and traditional methods. Everything about the brand suggests genuine craft production. But Edinburgh Gin is owned by Ian MacLeod Distillers, a major spirits company. And while they do have a small distillery in Edinburgh for tours and limited editions, the vast majority of Edinburgh gin sold in supermarkets is produced in much larger facilities using industrial methods. The craft image is maintained through the Edinburgh distillery, but the volume production happens elsewhere using processes that have nothing to do with craft distilling. What makes Edinburgh Gin number 2 is the distillery tour deception. They invite consumers to visit the Edinburgh distillery, showing them small copper stills and traditional methods. Visitors leave convinced they've seen how their gin is made, but the gin they buy in Tesco wasn't made there. It was made in an industrial facility using completely different methods. The distillery tour is marketing theatre designed to maintain the craft illusion while the real production happens out of sight. And here we are. Number 1, the absolute worst gin brand sold in Britain, the one that represents the pinnacle of craft gin deception. It's supermarket own brand craft gins. Tesco Finest, Sainsbury's Taste the Difference, Asda Extra Special. These ranges are marketed as premium craft gins with carefully selected botanicals and small batch production. The packaging looks sophisticated, the price point suggests quality, and millions of British consumers buy them thinking they're getting genuine craft gin at a reasonable price. But these gins are made by contract manufacturers like Greenall's using the fastest, cheapest methods possible. They're compounded, not distilled. The botanicals are artificial flavourings, not real ingredients. And the craft claims are pure marketing with no basis in production reality. You're buying industrial alcohol with flavouring added, packaged to look like craft gin, sold at prices that suggest quality you're not receiving. What makes supermarket craft gins the absolute worst is the complete deception. At least with Gordon's or Beefeater, you know you're buying mainstream industrial gin. But supermarket craft ranges are specifically designed to deceive consumers into thinking they're getting something better. The packaging, the marketing, the price point, everything is calculated to create the illusion of craft quality while delivering industrial product. It's fraud dressed up as premium gin. So those are the 9 gin brands you should never buy. 9 products that range from industrial gin trading on heritage to complete craft deceptions. But here's what you need to understand. Real craft gin exists. Gin made by genuine small distilleries using traditional methods and real botanicals. You just need to know what to look for. Look for distilleries that actually distill their gin rather than compounding it. Look for brands that list their production location and methods transparently. Look for gins that cost what they actually cost to make. Real craft gin typically costs £30 to £40 per bottle because genuine small batch production is expensive. If you're paying £20 for craft gin, it's probably not craft. Brands like Sipsmith, Warner's and smaller local distilleries are making genuine craft gin. They're transparent about their methods. They use real botanicals, they distill in small batches, and they charge prices that reflect actual production costs. Yes, it's more expensive, but you're getting real gin made with real ingredients using real craft methods. The uncomfortable truth is this: the gin boom has been built on deception. Hundreds of brands claiming craft credentials while using industrial methods. Premium pricing for products that cost pennies to produce. Marketing that creates illusions of quality while delivering mediocrity. And British consumers have been systematically deceived into paying craft prices for industrial alcohol. But you know better now. You know that heritage brands have industrialized production. You know that craft marketing doesn't mean craft production. You know that supermarket premium ranges are deceptions. The next time you're standing in that gin aisle, reaching for a familiar bottle or a craft-looking brand, remember this. You're probably buying industrial alcohol with botanical flavouring, not real gin. What are your thoughts? Have you been buying any of these gin brands? Share your experiences in the comments below, and if you found this helpful, please subscribe to UK Food Exposed and ring that bell. We're going to keep exposing the truth about what's really being sold on British shelves. Thank you for watching, and remember, demand real craft, not marketing deception.